everyone, and happy Independence Day. This is the Fanatically
Yep.
Biased Sports Show. We have a great show tonight, and we are here to talk about NBA free agency. We have a great host here, and with our NBA free agency, being that our show is biased, I'm going to be biased with my team,
Hey,
the Philadelphia 76ers, and my brother's team, the Philadelphia 76ers, and we are going to talk about NBA free agency. But before we get biased, we're going to try to give some objectivity, right? First off, before we even start, I want to show that although I'm a petty Sixers fan and I will not support the Boston Celtics because I hate them, I will
no.
support individual players. So I support Jason Tatum and his small wins, Candy. We're doing our small wins. And this is a small win for me because I'm trying not to hate on Jason Tatum. So hats up to the Jason Tatum, not the Celtics, Jason Tatum and his Candy. With that being said, we're going to get to it. We have Dwight Jones, a fanatic of Philadelphia sports, specifically the Sixers. And I want to give a brief overview. We have laughed together. We've yelled together. We have drank together. Cheers. And so now we're going to talk about free agency so I'll ask the first question. Doy, as we talk about free agency, what is the first thing that struck your mind?
Well, before we do that, I got to give a shout out, right? Philly. What better way to celebrate July 4th than the birthplace of America?
Hey, Philly,
Philadelphia. That's right.
Declaration of Independence, Liberty Bell. There it is.
70,
Clap your
So,
hands.
everybody.
Um,
Oh,
so okay, I'm gonna rewind it a little bit. June 30th, 5:55 p.m. 5 minutes before. What were your thoughts going into free agency with free agency? We're gonna save the
yeah.
Sixers with free
Yeah.
agency.
It's my favorite time of the year. You know what I mean? Like no other sport. Can you think about it? NFL players move, but it's like with the NBA, like that June 30th, July 4th, July 1st, so many player movements happening, man. It's just an exciting time. So I was just looking forward to it. And I was rooting for our team to get who we got, but yeah, it was just an exciting time, man.
Okay, I'm gonna give you. It was an exciting time, but I was a little frustrated. I'll be first as a fan. Sometimes we go on emotion. I saw what the Knicks did, and I was salty.
Yeah,
I I
yeah.
I um I I saw, and I'll just point this out to our viewers. Talking with you, going back and seeing what you said to me when you said, "Did you see how much he gets paid per year?" And when I saw he only got 20 million per year, I
Yeah,
got emotional. I
yeah.
I was like, this team just beat us,
Yep.
and now we're letting them. Now I know they gave up a lot, so I was like, we could have done that, but uh, we didn't. So hats off to the Knicks. We're going to give
They
them their
they
props. They're
improved.
making winning moves.
They improved.
They improved. Um, but back to what you said, you were excited about this year. Did you think? What were you expecting from LeBron, from Clay, from Paul George? Was there anything you were expecting in this free agent class or in free
Well, it
agent?
was interesting. Like you said, like you go into it. So before you even went to free agency, right? You had the draft, and that's when the Knicks made that big trade. And I talked to you that night, and you saw how down I was. Like we could have given. We had picks. We had picks for the Clippers. We had picks going forward. So it was like what was the 7 stages of grief? Where that night, that was a down night for me. I'm not gonna lie, that was a bad night. That draft night. But then when you get up to like June 29th, you start to see, oh, hold on, the Clippers aren't going to extend Paul George. They're not going to give him that 4th year, and it's like, okay, then it's between us and Orlando. So, I
Right.
started to get excited once you get your hopes up. Now you gotta weather yourself as a Philly fan. Disappointment is right around the corner. So, I was cautiously optimistic going into July 1st.
Okay. With that being said, I got to ask a question because I heard this phrase and I want to know because I live in Michigan, though I'm a Sixers fan, and I grew up the early parts of my life in Philly.
Mhm.
I'm hearing this part. I heard this on a show. Is this a phrase? Negadelphian? I
That-
mean,
think about it. Think about it like this: Boston, they draft Jason Tatum. We get Markel Fultz. The year before that, they draft Jalen Brown. We get Ben Simmons first. We blow that lead against the Hawks. You saw the Kawhi shot.
you're triggering me. You're triggering.
Joe Carter in 1993. He hits that bomb against Mitch Williams. So, yeah,
Oh,
Negadelphia
don't
is.
forget Larry Hughes and Paul Pierce.
Oh
Don't
God,
don't
I
forget
forgot.
that.
So again, Negadelphia, but that's what I gave you some examples of why it's real. It's real, right? Negadelphia.
Okay,
We don't have good things. We're not allowed to have good things in Philly.
I,
That's what our belief.
I told my buddy I heard this phrase and it sums up because he's from Chicago.
Mhm.
My co-host who's not on tonight,
Yep.
and he started cracking up. I'm like, unless you're from Philly, but when you grow up in Philly and you're a Philadelphia sports fan, that just resonates to you
Yeah.
like Negadelphian. You know, I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
yeah,
And we had some breakthroughs. Phillies, 2008,
2000,
the
2008,
Eagles, the Eagles.
2017,
Yep.
right?
So we've had some breakthroughs. I'm not going to say it's all Negadelphia, but
Right.
you know, we've had more bad than.
Okay. So, okay, but before we get to that, because I'm so ready to go there.
I know.
What outside of our squad surprised you with free agency?
You know who surprised me, and I'd actually expected it. I'm surprised they actually acted on it. The Thunder,
Yeah,
like
sustained.
because they've got the young talent, and what hurt them against Dallas was like rebounding.
Yeah.
Because Chet's not built to play the five, man. Like
No.
if you saw what Embiid and others did, now it's not that many big men that in the league, but you can tell he's not. He's built to be more like KD on the perimeter. So getting, I think Hartenstein was a big pickup for them, and Caruso. Like, what were your Bulls fan? I want to hear from him. What were they thinking? The Bulls what are they doing over there?
I think from what I've been told, the 2025 draft is supposed to be really strong with Cooper Flag and Ron Harper's son Dylan
Yeah.
Harper and Ace. I forgot his name. Who's going to Duke. And I think a lot of teams are trying to get multiple picks in that draft with the new rules of the CBA, which we'll get into later.
But the Bulls didn't get any picks.
Yeah. I mean, here's what gets me, and I'm digressing a little bit, but
Yeah.
how is Tobias Harris getting $26 million and DeMar DeRozan is still searching for a contract?
Hey, his pop. I don't know what dirt he has on executives in the league, man. His dad's his agent.
Right?
But shout out to his dad, man.
I mean, look, I ain't mad at Tobias, but when I look at DeMar DeRozan averaged 23, almost 24 points a game, and
Lethal.
he's struggling to get the mid-level exception.
Lethal mid-range game. Yeah, like.
I mean, and Tobias 0 for 2. No, I'm getting
Don't get me
triggered.
started.
I'm getting triggered.
Negadelphia again. Negadelphia again. That's where it starts. That's where it starts.
Negadelphian. So the Thunder were like, were you surprised Golden State let Clay go, or were you expecting that?
No, the writing was on the wall. Once you bring a player of that caliber off the bench during the season, and Clay, if Clay has anything, he has an ego. You don't have to know him to know that. So once they brought him off the bench, you knew that relationship was beyond repair. So no, that didn't surprise me.
You know what got me with Clay, D, is simply when two-way players aren't the cornerstone of a franchise, I feel like they often get overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
You look at what Scottie Pippen did. Michael Jordan could not have been Mike without Scott.
Yeah.
And Steph Curry could not have been Steph without Clay. And you look at, but the difference is where Scottie was, okay, you can get us double-digit points and assists and do defensively. Clay was expected to guard the best perimeter player
Yep.
and still get
That's
20
right.
points a game.
That's right. Yep.
And then here's what I thought of when I thought of Clay. We forget the first time the first Supermax came, he got overlooked for Kemba Walker. Remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Because the
Absolutely.
press wouldn't give him an all NBA slot. They
Yep.
voted Kemba Walker the third team all NBA. Now,
That's right.
don't get me wrong, I'm Big East. Shout out to Kemba, but he was not better than Clay in a
Uh,
time where Golden State was dominant.
yeah. Yeah, that's right.
So
But
I think all these things kind of was like,
it's
I wonder if all these things were kind of like grinding at Clay. Like,
oh yeah,
you
absolutely. And then
know,
you
I
think the
get looked
backseat he took
over.
when Durant came in too, like he didn't like that. The reports he didn't like taking being the fourth option at
Right.
that point.
And then you look at what he did
Yeah,
game 6, 2016 on the
that's
road,
right. Yeah,
OKC. You know, what he did
yeah,
game 6 against Houston, down
yeah,
3-2 the next
yeah,
year.
yeah,
What he did,
yeah,
you know, before he tore his ACL, game 6 against Toronto, that they lost that game, but he
yeah.
had 30 going into the fourth.
He was cooking. Yep, he was killing
So
him.
he didn't just do it. And I understand
Well,
there's a point where the organization's job is to do what's best for the franchise.
yeah.
But when you have a special talent like Clay, a part of me feels like you got to focus on, they wouldn't have won, in my opinion. I want to hear your opinion too. They wouldn't have won none of them rings without Clay.
Probably not. I mean, you can argue some of the Durant years. Could they have beaten Cleveland? Maybe, but no, he was an integral part of that team. Because you
Yeah.
had to respect him. He
Right.
spaced the floor for him and stuff. You had to respect his ability.
What did you think about Caldwell Pope, somebody who the Sixers were going after, I might add, if things fell through?
Yeah, back up.
What did you think about him going to Orlando? Do you think that is
I, it's a good move. I'm not saying it's a bad move, but I don't think that's what Orlando needs. You got to think who are the creators on Orlando who can get their own shot. You got Paolo, and who else demands a double team? I think they need another like a 1A. I don't think Paolo's a 1. I think he's probably better suited as a 2.
right?
And I think they needed a 1 to get to that upper echelon of teams in the East. So, look, are they still going to be a playoff team? Absolutely. Will they be top 4? If teams get hurt like we did and others did this year, like Indiana, maybe they can slide to the top 4. But right now, if teams stay healthy, I can't see them being better than the best 4 teams in the East.
Okay. Are there any? Now, I'm going to preface this because I know you know when I'm going with this. I see the great fleecer, Danny Ainge, is at work again,
No.
trying to get first round picks.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think marketing? Do you think any of these teams are going to bite with marketing? This is the latest day 4 of free agency.
Yeah, I think the answer is yes. I think somebody's going to pay the price because look what Markin has done, man. Since he's left Chicago and gone there, and you got to be leery, right? Because they haven't been a good team since he's been there. So I think you got to be leery of a player putting up stats on a bad team. But I think he's the real deal, and yeah, I think somebody's gonna pay his price. Look, who would have thought somebody would pay that price for Rudy? Rudy go there. So
Yeah, that reset the market.
yeah, so I think somebody will pay. Now the apron, we'll talk about this later. That second apron and first apron's real, so that might prevent more teams from jumping in. But
Right. Shout out to my boy Demetrius Watson. Your Bulls continuously mess up giving away quality players. Shout out to Demetrius Watson, the Chicago Bulls, who have not been relevant since the 90s, but at least you have 6 titles to show for it. So,
and think about this too with the Bulls. I might add you, they could have got rid of Caruso at the trade deadline last year and got at least 1 or 2 first round picks. Instead, you end up with Giddey, Drummond, who we got. We were willing to give him multiple second round picks. Again, you got nothing.
right.
DeRozan, what are you going to get?
Nothing.
I don't get it. I don't get the Bulls.
And,
But
and,
anyway.
and I hate to say it, but we'll get to that. We'll put that in our back pocket because the longer he stays out there, why not?
Load up. Why not?
Anyway. Are there any other are there some small free agent signings that you saw? Well, let me not say small, but less notable free agent signings that you say will pay dividends?
That's a good question. I mean, I really trying to think. I think those are the main ones. Again, the Knicks, what they did with the draft, I think they really upgraded. You know what? People are sleeping on Milwaukee, and I'm
Yeah,
really curious. They made a couple small pickups that, and I'm not a big, you know, how I feel about Doc. I'm not a big Doc fan, but again, the regular season, he's clearly been, you know, I think a really good coach. So I
right.
think people are sleeping on them. I don't think they're going to be a top three team in the East, but I think they can sneak into the top four still, and they still got Giannis.
They got Giannis and they got Dame. The key to there is I feel like the key with Milwaukee is Chris Middleton.
Yeah,
Can he stay healthy, or when he gets healthy, can he be that player he was before, hitting
yeah,
outside jump shots? I can't say he was a great defensive player, but he was good
no,
enough to cause issues. And
yeah,
then here's the elephant in the room: does Dame really want to play for them? Because he looked miserable last year.
yeah. He did.
He looked like I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
You know,
Now
I
we'll see.
thought
To that point, Doc said he didn't. He came in out of shape because he didn't want to get hurt. So I don't know if that's the reason or he really didn't like it. But I agree with you. We'll see.
we'll see. I'm willing to give it another year if Dame is healthy. They got to get some more defensive perimeter depth because Giannis is getting up there. I thought for me, I thought Golden State did what they could to try to salvage Clay.
Yeah.
I felt, and as a Sixers fan, I want to hear your opinion. I felt uh, Melton, before his back started giving him issues, was a good
Yeah.
pickup.
Oh yeah. Melt's a
And
great player. Absolutely.
and and being how Golden State operates in space, he'll get open looks to hit that
Yeah.
jump shot.
Yep.
And he can play and he gives effort on the defensive side. I
Yeah.
thought that an experienced veteran like Slow Mo,
Yeah.
Kyle Anderson, he
Yep.
just has experience. I'm
Yep.
not going to sit here and say he's the next great player, but
No.
I do think that in the playoffs, he knows he's been in those situations. Yeah, I mean, Boston signing their. I mean, look,
They
let me
just
tell
kept their
you,
people.
and let me just. I'm trying to get better. Shout out to the Celtics. They won the title. But let me tell you, this is just interesting. So I'm thinking, okay, they can run it back for one more year, and then they're going to have to start, decide on, what's his name with the hairline,
Oh,
Derek.
they just extended them.
You're right, right. But I'm getting to that. Derek
Yep.
White
Yep. Yep.
and Chris Stapps was a 2-year, 60
Yep.
million
Yep.
extension. So I'm thinking, well, they're going to have to get rid of them after next year. And then I'm like, wait, 4 years, 125.
Yeah.
How can they keep 3 years, 5 years, 315? I'm like, how can they keep doing this? And then they signed Cornette, whatever his name is,
Yeah.
and then that's straight gangster move by their ownership.
That's why they
We
put it
we
up
we
for
go
sale.
we gonna
Yep.
sign them and then we
Yep.
gonna sell. That's your
Yep.
problem
Yep.
with
Put
the
them in debt.
HM2, which we'll get to,
Yep.
but that's your problem.
Made it somebody else's problem. That is a gangster
And
move.
I have a theory about that.
What's that?
You know how you know them the powerful out in the Middle East have been trying to get into sports league. You
I was
saw
gonna
with
say the same
Liv.
thing. The Saudi.
I
Yep.
kind of feel like they might. Your Forbes said the Celtics were worth 4.7 billion before the chip.
Yeah.
I could see them. We'll give you 10 billion. We'll give
They
you
bought a
10
whole
billion.
golf league. They bought a whole
We,
golf league that's not making money. So why not buy an NBA team that actually may make
right.
money?
And the Boston Celtics at that, I feel like One of like that, whoever the sports agency, I don't know what they got over there. If it's one
Yeah,
person or if it's a bunch of people, I'm gonna say it. I think they go. I think a foreign entity is going to buy the Boston Celtics,
yeah,
and I think they're going to say you could go to Apron 5 for all we care. We got the money. We're
yeah,
buying everybody.
yeah. That's true.
That's my concern.
Absolutely. That's
Because the way what Wayne Grubeck or Grubeck's the
yeah,
ownership, I'm like, when that first, I'm like, that's impossible. They're
yeah,
on apron 2.
yeah.
And basically the league, unless you're willing to pay, and even there, you still can't do sign and trades.
That's right.
You still can't do once you get over 188,
Hmm.
you're very constricted.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then I saw, oh, they're selling. Ah. So my question, and this is I'm all over the place, but we'll edit that anyways.
Oh,
They're gonna edit.
oh.
What would you, if you're a billionaire owner and you wanted to buy a team, what would you rather have? Would you rather have from a team that just won a title, everything in place and forget the bill? We'll worry about that later. Or would
Hmm.
you rather have, I want flexibility? Let me make the decisions on who I'm going to pay. What would you rather have?
It's a good question. It's probably not that simple, only because I think where the team is important too. Because let's say, for instance, if you're in the Northeast, where it's like a New York, a Boston, a Philly, you're gonna have a fan base. If you invest in a team and it's a good team, you're gonna make money because the fans are gonna come. So in that instance, you can maybe have a thing where you can fix a team where you can fix it up versus if you're in like Memphis or you're in Orlando where you don't have like those, passionate, rabid fans, you probably want something established where you're going to have.
Got it.
Um, but with that being said, I think whoever buys Boston's walking into a great situation because even though you're paying that much for, an over fair market value for the team, you can charge whatever you want. People are still going to go to those games. It's a championship team contender for the next 5 years, as long as you keep, Jason and Jalen together. So I think they're in a great spot, man. As much
So
as I
you
hate to
would
admit
rather
it.
pay the tax and worry
Yeah,
about the other stuff later.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Especially in a place like Boston where people are going to come anyway.
When you already have it, because when you get when you win a title, you get a grace year or two.
Exactly. Yeah,
So you could. Okay, I just wanted to ask that. Okay,
yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah. Because think about it like this: if you had to build, there's no guarantee you're going to be successful building it from the ground up. Especially in
Okay,
a place that doesn't have passionate fans. There's no guarantee.
okay. So we're looking at in the West Conference. Did Dallas with Clay? Are they contenders? Do you feel? Let me just. Do you
Yeah.
feel that Dallas overachieved, or do you feel that they're contenders?
So
Like that was legit.
here's the thing about the West. It's so stacked. I think it's more playoffs as well. It's about matchups. And
Okay.
I think Dallas got fortunate with the matchups they had. Like I felt like again they missed Kawhi in the first round so they could handle the Clippers. And I think the next few rounds they were able. I thought if they would have run against Denver, I don't think they would have beat Denver. I just thought that would have been a bad matchup for them. I thought Jokic would have just ate up Lively and picked them apart. And once you have to double, that's it. But you can hone in on Minnesota with Edwards. So I wouldn't say that they were a one hit wonder. I just think they got fortunate matchups this year.
So with Clay, you feel like they could possibly contend again.
Um, they could. Now, again, I think there's a couple other teams. Like, let's see what happens. Denver's disappointed me this offseason. We'll talk about disappointments later, but they losing KCP is a big loss for them and not really replacing them. So I felt
Right.
like, but we'll see. I think they could. They would be a bad matchup for Dallas.
Okay. Okay. Uh,
Um,
how do you feel if John Morant's mind is right, or I'm
that's
not going to
another
trust
one.
your brother. If John
Yeah.
Morant is good and focused on just basketball, what do you think with Memphis?
They're probably playing, I would think. It's hard to put
Really?
them. I think. Well, who would you put them above? I can't put them above Minnesota. I can't put them above Denver. Probably not Dallas. Maybe they take the Clippers spot because the Clippers, they gave away PG.
Wait a minute. Wait. Okay, now
Golden
this is what
State.
I've been waiting
Are,
for.
are,
Now
are
we
they
might
better than Golden
you might
State?
want to refill your drink. Um, you wouldn't put them above Dallas with Bobby Clark coming back, with Des Bain, with now that Jackson doesn't have to play the 5 because you have Edie. Now they lost Tillman in that
Yeah.
trade where Boston, but
And they got Smart. They got Marcus Smart too. Don't
with
forget that too.
Marcus Smart, you wouldn't put
Yeah.
them above.
It's close. It's close. But you got to think a playing team in the West. The only difference between them and the playoffs is probably a couple games.
Okay.
So think
At
about it that way.
because we gonna segment now into this.
Yeah.
Okay, give me your top 4 seeds, and I will recommend. I understand it is July,
Yeah.
but with what we have, with the
Yeah.
body of information we have right now,
Yep.
give me your top 4 seeds, free agency included,
In the West, start in the West.
in the West.
You got to go with OKC, man.
Oh yeah.
They were one last year. And with the additions they made, they only got better, and that young team's going to continue to improve. So,
And they've got cap flexibility.
yeah,
I mean, what don't they? I was telling my boy,
yeah,
I don't know what don't they have? Like
exactly.
Hartenstein getting 29 million, but
And
okay.
it's the way their cap is structured though. When they have to re up Chet and Jalen, it's going to work out. So they were smart.
Okay, so OKC
You still got to give Denver respect, even though I don't like what they've done this offseason thus far.
at the
So
2.
I'm gonna have them at 2 right now. We'll see.
Okay.
I love Ant, man, and I think he's only gonna grow from this experience. So I still got them at 3.
Okay.
And this is where it gets interesting now. I'm good out of respect because I love Kyrie, and as much as Luca, he wet the bed in the finals, but you got to respect Luca. So I'll still put Dallas at 4. Um, Now 5 and 6 where it gets interesting. That's where you got that Memphis, Golden State. You've got the Lakers. Who am I missing? Clippers are out. Yeah, I think you've got between those 3 teams vying for 5 through 8.
I'm gonna give you I'll give
Go
you
ahead.
5.
Okay.
I'm with you with OKC.
Yeah.
I think KCP did a lot of things that weren't measured,
Yeah.
that there wasn't a stat for, and thus I'm not putting them at 2. I'm putting Minnesota at 2. But I will, because contrary to a lot of my people out of Eastern Europe, the people I love and respect, Stoyan, Borko, I got to give shout outs to them.
Yep.
They say I have no respect for what Joker does. I do.
You still
I'll
there?
admit that. I'll put Denver at 3. I'm putting Memphis at 4.
Okay.
And then a rejuvenated LeBron with his son,
All right.
with Anthony Davis, and people forget
Yeah.
Vanderbilt was injured.
Yep.
What's the deal? Gabe Vincent was injured.
He was injured. Yep.
And then you got D'Angelo Russell, who every 4th game is a
Yep.
20-point scorer.
Yep.
They're a little weak in the center spot. No, I'm sorry. You got Christian. What's his name?
Is he still? He may be still there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah. Christian Wood. Yep.
I'm saying the Lakers will be the 5 seed.
Okay.
And then you could do Golden State,
Dallas is Dallas is.
You know how I feel about Golden State. You've known this.
Yeah.
They're done. I respect the run they had. I understand what they did with Clay for business purposes. I don't necessarily feel it was the right thing to do. I think that's what messed up Golden State. You didn't penalize Draymond when you should have. You didn't sign Clay when you should have.
Hmm.
Organization wise, you got to be all in one way or the other. Either we
Yeah.
rebuilding
Yep.
or we are going to keep this core by any means necessary and
Yeah.
try to put pieces around it. You keep trying to
Yeah.
be on the fence.
Yeah. Either.
Steve Kerr, until Kaminga started mingling, started putting out, I want to trade because I'm not getting my minutes. You didn't want to play him, and then you start playing him, and he starts producing.
Yep.
They got to get better at that. But anyway, I get that. Now we go to the East.
Oh, this is yep.
Okay. Okay. Top 5 on the Eastern Conference.
I hate it, but you got to give them the champs their respect. You got to go
Yeah,
Boston,
you
and I
got
and I hate it, man. But it
small
is.
wins.
Yep.
All wins.
Now, two is interesting, right? Because I'm optimistic that, and we'll talk about what the Sixers need. I'm optimistic they're going to get what they need, but until they do, I got to give it to New York as
Right.
for two right now. But McCall and they the move they made today to free up, I think it was about 16, 17 million in space. So they can actually re-sign a few people and add some more pieces now.
And they're getting DeRozan. That's what they're doing.
They could be. They
They're
could.
going to get DeRozan.
But is he going to start? Like, who would you start him over? You're not going to start him over OG or Mikal Bridges. So,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Julius Randle. So, and he's not
Look,
going to take him
Daryl
off the
Morey's.
bench.
Look, bro. Look, excuse my language. Damn, we can edit this. Damn all that. Daryl Morey, your job is not done yet.
It's
Your,
not.
your job is not done yet. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, three, I'll go with Sixers because I just think that talent you got with and Maxi's going to take a step forward this year. He's taking a leap every year. He's going to take another one. So look out for
Right.
that. Embiid is going to be Embiid. He just needs to play somewhere in that 55 to 60 games.
Give me
And
60. Give me 60 games.
yeah,
That's all I'm asking.
and
60.
hope and just hope playoffs. He's okay. And
Right.
PG's PG. You don't need him to be a one. You just need him to come in and not be Tobias. Actually take shots when they're available. Be aggressive when shots are available.
Right.
Four, people don't. I'm still going to give Bucks their respect. Giannis is still a problem, man. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm not gonna. If he's healthy, I'm not gonna disrespect Giannis like that. And Dame is still Dame. I think Doc is gonna get a little more out of him, even though I'm not a big Doc fan. Five is interesting. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna reverse it. Indiana, since they own the Bucks, they're four, and
Ooh,
Milwaukee's
they
five.
did. They made the Bucks
I
their
think
daddy.
Indiana's four. If
Yeah.
Halliburton can stay healthy.
Yeah. Indiana was the Bucks daddy last year.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
that's my five.
okay. I'm with you. You got to give respect to the champs.
Yeah.
Shout out to Michael Bassenpour, Lester Ben, Eve Calzada, all them people who were Celtics fan, Jeremy Poshkus that I grew up with.
Hmm.
It sickens me. I'm 50 years old and they've been whooping our behinds for 50 years. Do you realize the only time we had the upper hand in my lifetime was the early 80s, where we won 2 out of 3 Eastern Conference finals? And we should have won 3. We gave up a
Yeah,
3-1 lead.
3-1 lead. Yep.
There is a picture of Larry Bird with this jumping up with his hands over his face as Boston fans run the floor. And everybody assumes that is for the NBA title. No, that was against us when you won by 1 or 2 points in game 7.
Yep.
Then the next year, D, we gave up another 3-1 lead, but we killed them in game 7 in the Garden, only to lose to the Lakers. You can't
Oh,
make this stuff up. So, but with that being said, I digress. The Celtics are, until somebody can, they've got depth, they've got
yep.
shooting,
Yep.
they've got timely rebounding. They defend when they want to.
The shooting is just when they're
I
on.
mean, yeah, and they got what I think the thing with their shooting is they got people who can shoot, but they can also create their own shot.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown, when you make him go a certain way, now I don't know why people don't make him go the other way, but
Yeah.
but when he goes to a certain hand, he can create his own shot. Jason
Yep.
Tatum, I think Jason Tatum, as much as I hate to say it, I think Jason Tatum gets in his own way. How this man hasn't won an MVP yet with his skill set, I'm befuddled. I'm just going to be honest. I mean,
I agree. There's no
how
reason.
I don't know what it is. I hope he hears this. I'm sending it to the Boston Celtics fan page. I don't know how he hasn't won an MVP. Then you've got old Al Horford, who the Sixers had addition by subtraction. We let him go again.
Yep.
And then the missing piece, Drew Holiday, which I don't know how you felt, but when I saw they picked him up, I was like, there it is.
Yep.
There it is right there. So Celtics won.
And Porzingis, man, he's
And Porzingis was nice. But
he's
with those
unlocked them.
characters, he's got space to work with.
Well, he gives them space, because now your 5 man has to come out and guard him, and that just opens a lane for Tatum and Brown. So he makes them invincible. I feel like if they would actually ran up against a healthy like New York or even us in the second round with Porzingis hurt, it would have been at least a series. I'm not saying we would have won. So, but he makes them invincible, I think.
I think them one. I definitely think I agree with you. Until I see what we do with the 2 and the 4,
Yeah,
I need to see more of that. D, do me a favor. Turn on your lights because it's starting to get dark out.
let me hold on. I'm gonna go in. Because give me a sec.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
All right. So until I see what the Sixers do, I love our 3, our point guard, small forward, and center. But I'm not sure about what we're doing otherwise. I'm going to give the Knicks. I'll put us as the 3. While I get your point with Milwaukee as the 4, I'm going Cleveland. I like the addition of Atkinson. I think that Garland Donovan Mitchell matchup is going to be tough. Look at the are those? Oh, look at the Office. Yeah. I think the Garland Mitchell with Mobley, with some of the depth they have, I think that's going. I put them at the 4.
Yeah.
And then I need to see something from Middleton. So I'm putting Orlando at the 5.
Okay.
I'm putting
I'm not
Orlando
mad
at
at
the
that.
5, Milwaukee at the 6. So that's my thought process.
Okay. I'm not mad at that.
Okay. And now we're going to move on from that. Okay. Do you have a top 3 winners and top 3 losers in terms of free agency?
Oh, losers by far. I mean, the Clippers are got to be number one. I just have no idea what they're doing. Chicago as well. They had a chance to at least get some assets. We talked about that for Caruso and Drummond. We didn't even talk about the Sixers and Drummond, that pickup. I think that's a big pickup.
Oh, huge.
That's going to be underrated.
Huge.
So yeah, the Bulls is another one loser. Winners, we talked about them though. I think the Sixers did a great job with PG. That was a lot of luck, and I'm glad because think about PG too. We'll talk about it, but who leaves LA to come to Philly? Like who? And he's from He's from that area. So that you got to say that's a win. Yeah, I think them. And we'll see about Golden State. It's interesting because Golden State picking up Buddy, D Melt, and Kenny Heat. Those are, I think, 3 really good pickups. So I'm curious to see how that works out.
Yeah.
For Kyle Anderson.
All right. You pointed out your winners. I'm gonna point out my losers.
Yep.
The Clippers. And I got into a debate with someone. He was saying that with the new CBA salary cap flexibility is as good as a high pick. So he was saying the Clippers may have lost poor Paul George, but they have cap flexibility to move forward in this unknown waters and all the nuances of the new CBA agreement.
Yeah.
But with that, I count it with, but you gave up so. If you had drafted Paul George and you had that argument, I probably wouldn't agree with you, but I could see more where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But you gave up so much to
To
get
get
Paul
up.
George. So the Clippers and to get nothing for him.
Yeah.
And to see this coming, I'm of the mindset of, look, I'm putting this offer out on All-Star break. If you don't take it, we trading you because I'm
Yeah.
not getting nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel. But
Sure.
the Lakers, the fact now it's early, but they haven't done
Anything.
anything. And then gotta be honest, they if they would have put Austin Reeves instead of D'Angelo Russell in that trade,
Mm-hmm.
Paul George might have opted in.
Yeah.
But I get what they're saying, or not Paul. I'm sorry. Golden State might have. Wait. If they wouldn't have put, Austin Reeves there, they might have had more success with signing trades. I'll just put it there.
Oh yeah.
And you saw this with Horton Tucker. They
Yep.
get these people, these role players,
Held
who
on a
they
little
deem
too
as
long.
untradeable, and they're role
Yep.
players.
Yep.
And I'm saying, what? Okay, and then you end up getting rid of them. You got rid of Kuzma. You got rid of Tucker.
Yep.
Yep. So the Lakers are those two, and I think I agree with you, the Bulls, because I just look, either blow it up. You might have to go to the Sam Hinkie school of tanking, because you can't do this. I'm gonna stray on the fence and hope.
Tread in the middle. Like
No one's paying.
that's no man's
Everybody
land.
laughed at you with that Zach LaVine contract. No disrespect to Zach LaVine, he's talented,
Yeah.
but he was not a max player. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
His defense is atrocious, and his 3-point shooting in this day of analytics, they want your mid range, you're athletic, but your defense and with your skill set. So those are my 3 losers.
Now we forgot an obvious winner. We talked about them earlier, but Oklahoma City, I think they might be number 1. So
I mean, and now they've got experience.
Yeah.
See, I think that's what killed them against Dallas. I
agree.
They didn't have experience.
Yeah.
Shai Gilgeous getting SGA doing that foul, which was a foul against Dallas in Game 6. Little things where you just got to learn. And they've got cap flexibility. They've got picks. What don't they have? It's going to be interesting what Minnesota does.
Yeah.
They went up for Dillingham, but I'm going to tell you this. San Antonio is coming.
Well, I was going to say that's my sleeper in the West. Not to make maybe they may make the playoff. They may sneak into a play-in. So I think that Chris Paul pickup, if he stays healthy, with Wemby another year under his belt, dude, he looks good in the Olympics so far, and at least the free.
So this is good news, everybody. We have talked about NBA free agency. Now we're taking all that away. It is the 4th of July. We are talking about the Philadelphia 76ers on Independence Day, where the Declaration of Independence is, where the Liberty Bell is. And we're talking about the Sixers now and free agency.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to speak for both of us, but it's been a roller coaster ride. And I gotta. Can I go first here?
Yeah, please.
I was up until the morning of July 1st cursing Daryl Morey. He could have gotten Mikal Bridges. What? Now DeJounte is gone too?
Yeah, he was another one.
we've got, and then I had to do my research. Had to listen to my guys, my podcast, right to Ricky Sanchez,
Yep.
and
Shout out to Wright, Spike,
right
and
shout
Mike.
out to
Yep.
right to Ricky Sanchez and Real Talk with Miles. We just didn't have the assets to do those type of trades.
Yeah.
We didn't. On one hand, we didn't have the picks with like New
Yeah.
York had consecutively
Yep.
or every other year, and we didn't have the combination of picks versus teammates that New Orleans had.
Yep.
So now, although he drives me crazy, I got to give Daryl Morey his ups. I thought at first I didn't want Paul George. How did you feel about Paul George when you heard that? First time I heard it was March. We're
Yeah.
going after Paul George.
Yeah, I didn't want him either. I mean, you think about the age. That's the only issue I have with Paul George. Love the skill set. He fits what we need. We need shooting 3 and D. But yeah, I wanted somebody a little younger, and I thought Macau would be the perfect fit. But look, you can't draw up a perfect scenario every time in life. So even though it's not perfect, I feel like for the next 2 to 3 years, we got a legit shot at it. So that's why I'm okay with it now.
Yeah. Considering that Joel is 30 with the injury history
Yeah.
he has, our window's got to be now.
Yeah, it has to
You've
be.
had Ben Simmons, it didn't work out. You've had Jimmy Butler. You've had James Harden. Not blaming Joel, but it just didn't work out. Well,
He can get a little blame. He can get a
yeah,
little.
you're right.
He can get some blame. He can.
You do get some blame, Joel.
Yeah, he's got to get some blame.
Um,
And I'm a big Joel fan. I love him. He's my favorite player in the league. But
I'll say this. So if this podcast ever goes viral, you can point back to this and say, Joel Embiid to me is the most talented big
he
man
is.
I've seen in my lifetime. I'm not saying he's the best big man,
Oh,
but
talent
when
wise,
you look
though.
at his skill set, he can hit you on all three levels:
Yep.
3-point shooting, mid range, post up.
Do it
He
all. He's got a
plays
handle
defense.
now.
His
Yep.
footwork is ridiculous.
Mhm.
He blocks shots. His problem is injuries. I mean, that's his issue. Yeah. So I'm like you. Didn't want Paul George at first because it was just. But the more I studied this, and I admit as a fan I was ignorant, this was the best case scenario.
It was.
We weren't going to get a Mikal Bridges because we didn't have the assets. Because
Nope.
outside of Joel and what we were going to do with Tyrese, we had no contracts.
Nothing. And this is what Darryl wanted. He set it up that way when he made the Harden trade to clear the cap space for this summer.
Yeah, so had to give him props. I didn't believe it until I saw it coming. I was like, oh my gosh, are we really having the first time I actually even entertained this, and I don't know how it was when he opted out.
Yeah.
Because if he opts in, that means he's going to Golden State.
That's when I knew it was a chance. Yep, that's right.
And I was like, he better not pick Orlando over us.
That would have just been. I couldn't live with that. Like, I could Golden State. I get it. You're from there, same state, but I couldn't live with Orlando. No.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing about asset of Paul George that I find refreshing and important is how he plays without the ball. He doesn't need the ball in his hands.
Yeah. And it's funny, I'll tell you, because we could have gone two routes. People in Philly debated this a lot. Like, with this cap space, do you go the third star Paul George route, or do you just go like get really good role players like somebody like a Drew Holiday and Derek White, like the 20 million role player route? And you can't go that route with this team because when Joel's out and he's missing 20, 25 games, you need that second star to keep us afloat. So I was originally wanted to go down that super role player route, but I'm like, you know what? No, that's not going to work with Joel missing that many games.
And the question I have, though, and this is something that shout out to our cousin Rob Watson.
Yep. Goat.
he said this, and I'm interested in your point though. Does this make us a contender, or does this just make us a better team? Your thoughts?
I, we're clearly a better team. The team's not done yet, though. So
Right,
the issue is we have I think the top end talent now to compete with anybody. I think the question is going to be, do we have role players that can help us
okay,
um, to like rebound and do the dirty work? That's why we lost to the Knicks, right? We lost because we couldn't rebound. We couldn't
right,
defend like their wing players. So I feel like if we can get role players now who can do the dirty work and can actually hit open shots, because you're going to get open shots with those three on the floor.
right.
I think then we're contenders if we can get fill that need.
Yeah.
What do you think, though?
Um, I think that's true. I think that's where, and you alluded to this earlier, the aspect of Andre Drummond, who's a rebounding monster.
We need, yeah,
You know, and then the Knicks consequently losing Hartenstein
yep.
because what's Mitchell Williams? Is that his name?
Mitchell Robinson,
Mitchell
yep,
Robinson. He's injury prone,
yeah,
probably more talented offensively than Hartenstein. And by the way, did you know he's black?
yeah. That's what they call him. Yeah, they.
Did you?
I saw the names they call him. I forgot. Like, yeah,
I didn't know.
he's got
Anyway,
his
I'm
dad
sorry.
was, yeah,
We
yeah.
digress. We
No,
digress.
no.
But I didn't.
You should look it up. The names they call Hartenstein is pretty funny. You should look it up.
Okay. So that'll help us.
Yeah.
Because I do feel that we were out tough. I still feel we were the more talented team
Oh, we
from
were
top to bottom, but they were tougher. They and
rebounding,
rebounding, and
and,
you know what
and,
made it.
and you
And
know
I
what it was
think
though too.
Sixers fans are exasperated.
Well, Jalen
Like,
Brunson too, man. Like I have never. It's been since probably AI. I've seen somebody play out of their mind like that. Like he hit every tough shot. He averaged 40 something points, and it's not like they were all wide open.
no,
Like he played out of his mind too. So that's what I.
yeah, and that's where I think our draft choice, McCain. Now, maybe I read it wrong, and I'm gonna look it up now, actually. But I thought I saw McCain uh um was about 200 pounds.
You're right. I looked it up after we talked. He was 6'2", like we had 195. Yep.
So I felt that like Brunson could do that Mark Jackson on Maxey.
Yeah.
He can't do that on now. He'll get away with it early because he's a rookie and everything. But as time goes on,
Yeah.
he ain't gonna get away. Like McCain's 200 pounds.
Yeah.
He ain't just gonna be bodying him like with no resistance. But I like that move. I love that we signed Kelly Oubre back.
We needed him. Yeah.
I think that against the Celtics, we've got now two long. Uber is what,
Yep.
about 6'8"?
Yep. 6'7", 6'8".
Two
Yep.
long 6'7", 6'8" defenders on the wing
Yep.
that are going to defend. Like Tobias was long, but his resistance defensively. Look,
It got better, but yeah, it still had.
yeah. No, look, and I like Tobias. Look, it hurts me because I like Tobias.
Oh yeah.
But I think, with all due respect, he checked out by about March.
Yeah.
He knew I'm not going to be here.
Yep.
My wife is in Detroit. He knew where he was going in March. I'll say it.
Yep.
He knew he was going to. He was never going to Utah unless they were going to pay him what we were paying him. And
That's been out there. Yeah. That Detroit rumor has been out with him has been out there. It was been out there since December. So yeah,
right.
he was going there.
And I'll say this. I completely expect him to be the second leading scorer.
Oh yeah.
18, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and us to be sitting there like, really?
No pressure.
Doing that, all that.
Losing team. That's when he shines, man. That's what I'm expecting. Yep.
Right. And I'm gonna be salty because you don't have to live here. I got to live here.
Mm-hmm.
So
now, how do you feel? So I'll tell you this. So there are a couple of players that the Sixers are thinking about picking up. I heard. So Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin's one of them.
I like that.
And he's another long defender, in
Athletic.
that 6'6", 6'7" athletic. Who was it? Hayward Heights, another Miami guy. Hayward Heights with Highwood Smith. So he's another guy that's okay. I'm trying to think. And Lowry, I think they're still looking at you're bringing Lowry in. Oh, and Marcus
I
Morris
like
is the other
Lowry.
guy.
I think we need a point guard.
Yeah,
True point guards are tough to come by, and I think Lowry is a good one.
yeah,
I know he's only going to give us probably 20 minutes a game, but I can live
yeah.
with that.
That's all we need. He's like 39 at this point.
Right.
He's all
He's a
close to 40.
champion.
Yeah.
He's a champion, and he has the cachet and the respect to say, Joel, if you don't get your behind in the post,
Mm-hmm.
you ain't getting the ball.
Yep.
And Joel will listen to that.
Yep.
But what do you think for power forwards?
Yeah, that's where it gets tough. So I think they're gonna go just start three wings. Like if they bring Caleb Martin in, I think it'll be Oubre, PG, and Martin. I'm hearing two other names now. These are bench guys; they're not starters. So bringing Dario Saric back.
Come back home. Okay,
Yep.
I
I'm
can
back
live with
home.
that.
And the other is Marcus Morris, who Philly guy, got the key to the city
Yeah, and then we
last
traded him the
year,
next
and
day.
we
Okay.
traded him. But a backup four. So those are I'm hearing at the power forward right now.
Do we have I'm asking and you being there, do we have a chance at Miles Bridges?
I don't know, man. I'm not hearing a lot that we're interested.
I haven't either, but I just
Yeah. I gotta look at his salary though. I mean, look, I would think Charlotte, they're not going anywhere. They want to unload him.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what Charlotte's doing, but I guess that's my problem. I mean, I think are they moving on? We no one knows who's moving on from Charlotte. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're another one. They're kind of treading in water a little bit. Yeah, he's making 15 million, so I think that's going to be tough for us to bring. Yeah. So here's the thing they could do. They could trade Paul Reed and bring in somebody who's making around 15 million. So I guess he could be an option.
I mean, what do you think? I mean, if we had an athletic power forward,
He's a prototypical power forward we need, to be honest with you.
and he's got a little shot. He's got
He
a jump
does.
shot.
He improved it a lot.
I mean,
He did.
look, they love him up here. I live right outside of Flint. He's from Flint. Like they
Yeah.
love him up here. But I'm just saying, if we could get a legit four, oh my goodness.
He's worth looking into. You just gotta the off court issues. The one you just that's the only thing that scares you. But
I know.
but
And how do you feel like? What do you think we're gonna do? What kind of season? How are we gonna use Paul? Is Joel gonna be more interior, or do you think he's gonna be more like what he's been?
I think he's gonna want to help Paul get comfortable and get off. So I think it's gonna be a little bumpy roads early because it's how it is. It's new, so you just want to make them feel welcome, and you're not going to play your game. But I think the way they should make it work is look, you still got to go through Joel, but like in the second half and the fourth quarter, that's got to be maxi PG time because you need people who can handle the ball, make plays, and maneuver. So I think that's how it's going to evolve.
Look, bruh, you in Philly now, Paul. That playoff P has
Oh
a
yeah,
new look, bruh.
you.
All that playoff P in Indiana and LA, you in play.
It's yeah. You're gonna hear so many more names for playoff P if he doesn't come through.
Playoff P, man. like, yeah, you are.
You're gonna
Like,
hear some
you
more, some
thought Skip
creative
Bayless's pandemic P was bad. If you don't,
in Philly. Oh man,
I mean, look, bro. Look,
I'm gonna keep it clean on YouTube. But that's all I'm gonna say. It's gonna
yeah,
be
we
ugly.
gonna keep it clean. But what I will say is, I think I'll give credit to credit due with Maury. He's given us a shot. We have the foundation to
Yeah,
do something. Hopefully, we can do it. Um,
Well, think about what he did. I know. I heard somebody say this earlier today. He ultimately turned Ben Simmons into Paul George. If you think about it that way, that is
okay,
amazing. Well, think about it.
continue. What do you say?
So Ben
Oh,
Simmons turned into James Harden. James Harden threw a hissy fit last summer. Didn't want to come back.
yes,
Opted in. We traded James
yes,
Harden for a couple players that expired to create the salary cap room because the Clippers didn't want to trade us Paul George last summer for James Harden. They'd rather him come to us for nothing. So now we got their draft picks and we signed Paul George. And ultimately that started with Ben Simmons getting traded.
and that draft pick. Okay, here's the thought process, though. All right, hold on. It will probably never happen, but what if? Because Ben Simmons is coming off the books.
This is the topic, everybody.
I mean, if he's getting the veteran minimum,
We need a
he's six
power forward.
with the handle.
We need a power forward.
And first team all team defense when his mind was right. Right?
Yeah. If he gets bought out, I would think about it. I'm not trading for him, but if he's bought out and
No,
you can bring him
no.
in
Look,
on the minimum, I think about it.
I think I think the market for Ben Simmons, and I'm just saying this, I don't know why, but I think the market for Ben Simmons is going to be bigger than we think when he's because I think everybody's going to feel like we can fix him,
It could.
and if we can fix him for $8 million, why not? That's all
Worth
I'm
the
saying.
risk. Worth the risk, but
So,
I don't know.
okay. With this being said, what do you what is your optimism for the season, D?
Again, I got to see how they
Or do
throw the
you
rest
have
of.
optimism? I
Yeah,
show
yeah,
my bias.
yeah. I have optimism. I mean, the ending of the season was tough because I felt like we still should have beat New York, even though we were the lower seed. And me working in New York, even though I live in Philly,
Oh, you hit.
it
Oh,
was
yeah. Oh.
it was tough. Although I will tell you, when Maxey hit that shot in Game 5, to walk in to go in New York and to see the long face on the subway, it brought so. I'm petty, I'm petty.
Oh,
It
yeah.
brought so. It brought so. I had so much joy walking through the subway, seeing all those down faces, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. But
Well,
yeah, I
you
got.
walked around like you were Spartacus, didn't you?
Oh, I loved it, man. I wish I could wear like my Sixers stuff. I had to go to work, so I couldn't. But if I could have worn my Sixers stuff, I probably would have made it home that night. They would have,
Yeah,
they would have
yeah.
killed me. But anyway, after that shot from half court, yeah, I'm optimistic though, man. Look, he's an upgrade over Tobias, no question about it. Bringing Kelly Oubre back, I love Drummond. We should have never let him go in the first place. I know we
Right.
had to for the Harden trade, but no, I think he's got Dallas has got to get some people who do the dirty work, and I think we're going to be in good shape.
Right. I was disappointed with what we had that Batum got away.
Happy wife, happy life, though. You know that, so that's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that
Yeah, she
was.
wanted to, yeah, you're
He
right.
was away. He didn't want to leave us. She didn't want to leave LA, so I get it.
Yeah. Um, okay. So well, my viewpoint is I think the Sixers, I'm gonna reserve judgment, but I like where we're heading.
Yeah.
I think if we could get a Marcus Morris who can mix it up,
Yep.
I don't think we're as good as the Celtics. If we can somehow think outside the box and get a Miles Bridges,
Yeah.
I think we can compete and maybe beat them.
Oh yeah.
But we need a legit four. Or if we could somehow get DeRozan, and the only reason I'm saying is because now you put DeRozan at the 2, Paul at the 3, you can still space the floor. And one
Yep.
thing about DeRozan that he doesn't get credit, he's clutch, dude. He
He's
and
clutch.
Drew Holiday is not stronger than DeMar DeRozan. So I felt like against Kyrie, Drew Holiday is just stronger. made
Go
Kyrie
him
go where he wanted him to go. And
and
I know
Jalen Brown.
people will say Kyrie, if he were right, and that's what we say he didn't do that. Okay, he impacted where, but you didn't go where you
Oh yeah,
wanted to go.
yeah. They're in his head. Him and Jalen Brown, Drew and Jalen Brown did a
Right.
great job on
But
Kyrie.
with DeRozan, you can't, they're not going to overpower DeRozan and make him go where they want him to go.
Now the only
But
concern with DeRozan, he doesn't shoot the three a lot or very well. That's the only concern I have with him. And you need people around Embiid who can shoot the three. So,
bruh,
we'll see.
and if Casey's watching this, let me put this on your minute and 30 clip. We need buckets. DeMar gets buckets.
He does get buckets.
He gets buckets.
Mid-range assassin. That's right.
Mid-range assassin.
Yep.
Look. We need buckets. And so I'm going to leave it at that. But on free agency, we got a great season coming up.
Yep.
And the Sixers are back in contention.
Yep.
They've done what they do. They give us hope.
Yep.
And they always do that. Hopefully.
Well, fingers crossed. This is the year, man.
They give us hopefully we have hope leading to a conference. I'll settle for a conference final.
Yeah.
I don't even need an NBA finals.
That's
just
progress.
a conference final.
Yep.
I'll take it.
Yep.
And I'm going to say this as we go out, and I want to see if you agree. Paul George, Tyrese, every superstar, an all-time great. If you want to be an all-time great, it's all about you. This is about Joel. Joel, you've got the pieces you need to shine.
Yep.
It's all on you. It's all on you. It ain't about, I don't have this. This is about you. Do you want to be an all-time great, or do you want to be in contention for MVP every year? Do you want to be a champion? That's what this is about. Nobody can stop you. Jokic can't stop you. Gobert can't stop you. Anthony Davis can't stop you. Wembanyama can't stop. Nobody can stop you. This is it.
Yep.
Nobody can stop you.
We go as far as Joel goes. If he averages 20 in the playoffs.
If you are healthy and can get through a playoff run, we can win a championship with this team.
Yep.
It's that simple. We need depth and all that, but even with the minimum role players, we can win a title.
Yep.
But if you're getting injured and strained meniscus, and then we'll second round of the playoffs. It's that simple.
It's that simple, man. We go as far as Joel goes. So, but he's got all the pieces, so no more excuses.
You've got everything, and you've got a coach whose main strength is schemes. That's what Nick Nurse is. Am I wrong?
No, that's right. That's right.
He is good at putting schemes out there. He ain't Brett Brown.
Yep.
He ain't. Look, I like Doc, but Doc's gonna run this. He's like Herman Boone on whatchamacallit. Remember the Titans. I run 3 plays, and they work like Novocaine. That's what Doc is. Am I wrong?
That's right.
That's right. I'm off.
No, absolutely right.
Nick is more on the Larry Brown side.
Yeah. Great strategist, great coach.
We're gonna come out of a timeout with some
very creative guy.
Creative plays. Coach. You've got shot making. You've got 2 cornerstones next to you.
Yep. All right.
It's got to be you.
That's a good way to end it. I gotta go see these fireworks. That's the right way to end it.
Oh, my bad. Man. All right. Well, people, we thank you for tuning in. We'll get this up in about another couple of days. Remember, Fanatically Biased. And we're going to have my brother here, my cousin, Doy, coming because we're going to be talking Eagles football.
Oh, yeah.
And everything as the season goes, as training camp is arriving. Thank you for taking your time out on this holiday. We appreciate it. And we'll be talking, as we always do. Fanatically Biased Sportscast, we're out. Happy Independence Day, everybody.